But there are nuclear designs, including ours on paper, that can compete on that basis. Now, getting a new nuclear design totally figured out, proving out the safety, getting the demo plant built, that's very hard. But we have some TerraPower, very high-risk company, but the national laboratories, and particularly Argonne, Idaho, are helping us with this stuff. The universities are helping with this stuff. The intellectual power of what's been done in the nuclear space should allow for some radical designs that meet the very tough requirements that people should have there. So it should be one of the places we pursue. And it's amazing to see, at least on paper, what is possible. And it's all supercomputers. I mean, without supercomputers, we couldn't talk about this. We can take our thing, we can run 100-foot waves over it, lava, hurricanes. We can test what it's going to look like in the worst case.
I think Bill makes a very important point, and it's the fact that high-performance computing allows you to simulate a very complex process, whether it's a diesel engine or a nuclear reactor. And in a nuclear reactor, the design cycles are much longer. And so you really want to do simulation. It's for that reason, one of our first innovation centers, hubs, we call them, where we get people across disciplines together and said, we want to solve a concerted effort for 10 years, an important problem. It was actually in the simulation of nuclear reactors. And it's because we saw such an opportunity. We are the leaders in the world in advanced simulation, and we can see this as, again, propelling our competitiveness forward, that we can simulate this. And so it was actually the first hub that was up on honest feet and running, and it's exactly ideas like that we in Department of Energy say very important.
In terms of the global picture now on nuclear, Fukushima certainly set back the nuclear renaissance. I mean, if you look at what's happening around the world, Germany, Italy, Belgium, even the leading contender for president of France now is saying that he wants to reduce the reliance of the French electric fleet to 50% nuclear. India, there's resistance at the grassroots level to the build out. Only China is really powering forward in a kind of substantial way. Given that plus the low cost of gas, are we likely to see one more time a stall in ideas around nuclear? I know that Bill and his company are committed to it. But
well, I hope not. Certainly, nuclear safety is first and foremost on everybody's mind. There's not only nuclear safety, but there's non-proliferation concerns, and finally, there's spent fuel. So those are the three issues. I believe they're all solvable. Let's say, for example, the AP1000, the Westinghouse new nuclear reactors, are, if devoid of controls and access to electricity and water for the first 3 days, they're gliding to a stop. The newer reactors, we think, devoid of everything, will completely glide to a stop without any risk. Those are the designs that we're putting in place. Meanwhile, the older reactors, we're seeing what we can do to make them still safer. And we do not want to put all our eggs in one basket. When the President said all the above, he really meant it. We have fossil, we have nuclear, we have renewables. We need all these things. We've got to get some of these cleaned up a little bit, but it's all this mix. I think if you talk to any utility company executive to say you're hanging it all on in your business where reliability and delivery is so important, you can't just say it's all here. You've got to diversify that supply.
Bill, I know you're in the TerraPower's in the very early stages, but if you think about licensing, siting, building a plant based on that design, does the United States seem like a hospitable environment to do that?
Well, any design that TerraPower would do would be for the global market. The question of where the demo plant, the first, is going to be built is something we're exploring now. We're talking to a lot of different countries. China's one possible place that it could be built, and it'd be a favor to the world if they would participate in that. the intellectual understanding of fast reactors, material science, is deeply United States thing, and it would be great if there was some outlet. Right now, the U.S. Has no fast reactor. In fact, if budget times were good, the American Energy Innovation Council, our proposal would have pushed for even more money, including some big pilot nuclear projects. But we talked amongst ourselves. We decided that was unrealistic, and so we focused more on basic science. I do think we'll find a place to get the demo plant built, and then if it delivers what we say, then that'll be a benefit for climate change of a dramatic nature. I mean, remember, if you really rule out hydrocarbons because you can't make carbon sequestration work, you have no base load power, none. And so just do the math on the storage. It's more than 100 times greater than all the batteries ever made to try and use intermittent storage for 100% of the powering. So the idea that we're not going to have any baseload sources of power, just the numbers make that seem extremely unlikely. So this could play a major role, and certainly the costs can be very, very low. There's no inherent reason why nuclear needs to be expensive. It's been safer per unit of energy put out than other forms of energy, but it's had some terrible tragedies based on designs done back in the 1960s. And so within the nuclear world, whatever gets built, Generation 3, which has the 72 hours of passive safety AP1000, it will gain and be the main thing that gets built. Gen 4, like the TerraPower, they're all total passive safety, right, because the understanding of how to do true passive safety and not require any human being to even look at a light and say, okay, what do I push now? Which valves do I pull now? If you need humans to do something, that is not a good design. Let's not have some guy sitting there waiting to do the right thing.
Homer Simpson role. Steve, I think Arun is going to talk about battery storage. We've talked a lot already today about storage of batteries for both building and vehicle perspective. But what about geological storage? What's your thoughts about meeting this challenge by using renewables and intermittence and storing that through other mechanisms, particularly geologically, to basically provide baseload power?
Well, the two most effective large-scale storage mechanisms we have are pumped hydro. You pump water up a hill. And if you have a set of dams or little reservoirs, you can do this, and it's very cost-effective, but it's limited in certain geographies. Compressed air storage, also very effective, of scale, of the 10 gigawatt-hour scale or above. If you have a natural cavern that's sealed, whether it be a granite cavern or something, you go into a salt dome and hollow out that. It can be a very tight seal, also very effective. Somewhat limited in where you go, but those things are being developed, and that's a very big deal. And then after that, there's this sort of, above ground battery, more modest. I don't see in the immediate future, 10 gigawatt, one gigawatt day worth of battery storage, other than those things. But again, lots of things can happen. I would agree that we will need a diversified supply of energy this century. But I also remember that Wright brothers flew in 1903, and we landed man on the moon in 1969. So things can happen.